All right, everybody, welcome into Pickaxe and Roll, brought to you by good friends here at Mile High Sports. I'm your host, Ryan Blackburn at NBA Blackburn on Twitter, part of the Mile High Sports Podcast Network, and I am here. I am excited to be joined by a very special guest. Before the offseason began, I went around to so many people, and I was like, you know what I'm going to do this offseason? I'm going to have a whole bunch of people on. We're going to just survey Nuggets social folks and podcasters and writers and go around and do. I did none of that. I did absolutely none of that for this entire offseason. Tomorrow is media day, and today is the first guest I think that I'm having on all offseason. I cannot believe I have done this, but he is a very special guest. He is the king of Thornton himself, the host of the CSG Podcast, Jeff Morton. Jeff, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. I think we all like this summer felt a little different because there just literally was nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing going on. And as someone who has done a podcast for 14 years now, I can tell you that I got to the point where I was going against the tide. So I had to go down to 2 podcasts a week because I was doing 3. And because for 2 months, because there was literally nothing to talk about. And even when I was doing 2 podcasts a week, I was repeating myself.
Yeah.
And that is just like, you get into burnout territory when you get like that. So I don't blame you for this at all. This is one of those off seasons where it's just like, it's just nothing happened.
I was just wondering, like, who am I going to talk to, and what am I even going to talk about in this situation? Like, it's especially for the Nuggets perspective, where everything happened at the very beginning, and since then it's been a whole lot of nothing. There's like some Eurobasket stuff happened, but you and I were talking about it. Like, it's nice for kind of a breakup in the complete lack of things that are happening. But for the Nuggets and for the NBA, it doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot. But it was nice to see Jokic. You had a show that dropped this morning. You and I have been talking offline a little bit about where we think Nikola Jokic is at. That was going to be one of my kind of later questions, but I want to start with it now, I guess. I wrote about Jokic today on milehighsports.com. Where do you think his head's at going into the year? Where do you think he's at, especially after the way that last season ended, the moves that the Nuggets have made, and then Eurobasket, and just where he's at physically?
The interesting thing about Jokic is I think he's consistent in that, like last year, for example. I mean, the man was a tank, and literally, my late mother used to describe it as like you're just steady and you're going and nothing is going to stop you. And she said, "You're a Sherman tank, Jeffrey. You're just go and go and go." And that's kind of like Jokic. He's like he's always going to be going like that. But my big thing is like watching Eurobasket. I was like, it's kind of out of shape, and
I'm glad.
It really disturbed me.
You're not the only one, I think, that feels that way. There are folks that have. I mean, there are also folks that have watched and be like, "Wow, he just looks so strong. He looks like a tree. He looks like he's going to be unmovable when it comes to the NBA game." Yeah. I don't know, man. Like I'm a little bit worried about it, and I think that there's at least. We'll see how it was. It was during August and September, and the first Nuggets game is October 23rd. So there's going to be time, I think, to adjust and figure that out, but. It'll be interesting to see, and I'm curious to see what he looks like over the course of like media day when it comes up on Monday, and then kind of going into training camp and preseason.
Well, no one's seen Jokic since Eurobasket ended in August, so for him, at least.
No video, nothing. Like pictures, nothing.
So I'm hoping that he hits camp, and looks good. And I said this on my podcast, but I think people, there's various people in Eastern Europe who are probably going to get really angry at me. But it was, I think as you get older, and Jokic is going to be 31 in February, I think. And when you pass 30, it just becomes the things you did before you can't do, because the time it takes you to make up for what the stuff that you used to do, like say like you eat a certain way, you relax, you drink a certain way, all that stuff. It takes you a lot more time post doing that to recover from it and to get back from that deficit.
Right.
And I think that as Jokic hits 30, he probably needs to start dedicating himself away from the summer of Jokic stuff. Because, and that's what I've called it, because, you see those pictures, he's, riverboating, getting drunk, dancing at raves and stuff like that. It just becomes, that catches up with you in a terms of your metabolism changes. You're not going to be able to do what you used to do. That's what happened to Shaq.
Right.
Shaq used to do whatever he wanted, and he would get in shape during the season. And that caught up with him in 2003. And he was never quite the same Shaq after that, because I think that is when he turned 30. And the deficit began more and more and more, and he couldn't do the same thing he used to during the season, just getting in shape. And that's what when it catches up to you. So that's where my mind's at. Now that he's 30, going on 31, he needs to get to a place where he's not having to constantly catch up for things he did in the offseason.
It makes complete sense. You look at the 2002-2003 season, which was the year after the Lakers three-peat, and it gets exhausting for a while. That was the year, you're right, that Shaq was in his age 30 season, and he goes from being, he was third in the MVP race to fifth, and then he was sixth, and then he was second when he was in Miami for the first year, but it just drops off, and you never fully, because everybody knows that Jokic is the best player in the world and that he's capable of completely incredible things, but I do have at least a small concern about him gassing out again and the amount of burden that he's taken, not just off the court and just all of those situations, but on the court. No wonder Jokic gassed out over these last 2 years, because he played 2,700 minutes in 2024 and he played 2,571 this last year. And that was in just 70 games. He could have played another, if you multiply 12 by 36, which is the additional minutes per game and games that he could have played, he would have been over 3,000 minutes for the season. So it is a good thing that the Nuggets have added some reinforcements to their bench, and Jonas Valanciunas and some other guys that can really help out with that burden. But I think that Jokic has to buy into that too. I think he's got to buy into rest days a little bit more, and he really has to focus on the end game, which is being ready for a 7-game series versus the Oklahoma City Thunder or the Minnesota Timberwolves or the Los Angeles Lakers, and being able to be his best self at that point, not just a shell because he had to gas out for the first 82.
Well, here's my thing, and this is going to sound counterintuitive, but Jokic doesn't like taking days off, and I think I wouldn't want to dissuade him from that, because that's how he is. That's how he's mentally. If he's doing the rest thing, I think that's going to hurt him. What I think caught up with him was the minutes, and I mean, he was up towards 40 minutes a game last year. And that's just, you're not supposed to be doing that.
Sure.
That's Tom Thibodeau levels of insanity.
Of course.
And I think that if they can limit his actual minutes and get him back down to a more reasonable 34, 35, right around there, maybe even high end 36, where he was, I think, in 2023. I think he was 36.
So basically what happened for this last year was, for the first, I want to say 25, 30 games, he was at 40 minutes a game.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, he dropped down to 36.7. So the number did start to drop, but that's still too high. In the modern NBA, where centers are asked to do so much, you need to be in the 33 to 34 range. And especially with a guy like Jonas Valanciunas behind him, there is no reason for him to be above that on a consistent basis. There will be times where you need him to play more. You need a certain win. You want to get a certain level from your team. But I do think that during the regular season, the Nuggets and David Adelman specifically have to fight against this approach, which is win 82 games. You don't need to do that. And I know that they're not trying to win 82, but it's really hard in the moment to say, hey, we gotta stay with the long-term view in mind when you're coaching game 27 and you're on a 2-game losing streak and you don't want to make it 3.
It's interesting because the Nuggets have gone a different route when it comes to team building.
Yeah.
They have chosen to go with the complementary to Jokic things rather than going with the second star approach. Think Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving or that sort of thing. And so what that does when you go to every piece being complementary to Jokic, you really depend on a backup center because it's very specific to Jokic getting rest. If there was, say, more like a Jordan Pippen situation, it wouldn't matter if you had equivalent backup center. You could just rely on that second star to run the second unit. But the Nuggets are much more complementary to Jokic, and this is the way they have chosen to go. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know how much Jokic would enjoy having a second star on the team.
No.
Because you have to compromise the way you view basketball, and Jokic is very, very, very specific about how he views basketball and how it should be played. And in order to accommodate that, you can't have typical NBA star come in there and be an ISO guy and stuff like that. So the Nuggets have a very difficult path. So it really depends on how good the backup center is and how much minutes they can accrue.
Well,
how much they can do that.
Good thing they've got the 87th best player in the NBA in Jonas Valanciunas. It's a really good thing. Hey, that's
we've arrived.
Not me who put it. It's the national public. It's crazy.
We have arrived. I know there's going to be some Greek people who are upset at that, but
they could have had the 87th best player in the holy cow. That's crazy. So, no, I do think that Jonas will help Denver, and it's going to be important for them to rely on that, and also to rely on trying to build up those non-Jokic minutes in such a way that Jamal Murray is out there, Cam Johnson is out there, Jonas Valanciunas is out there, and you're actually developing and putting resources to it, because so often, and I fight with Matt Moore, my co-host over at Locked On this a lot. He wants a full bench. He wants 10, 11 guys, and you want to. I think that Denver should open up the rotation as well, but just not in the way that he does. I think you just have to play your second and your third best player, second or fourth best player, second or fifth best player with the second unit in order to survive in the modern NBA, because so many teams are like Cleveland, where you've got Darius Garland and then you've got Donovan Mitchell and then you've got both of them, and there's no time where none of them are playing. And so many teams are going that direction that the Nuggets need Jamal Murray and Cam Johnson to be able to prop things up when Jokic is out. So if Denver can find a way to actually make those minutes an asset as opposed to a liability, that is how you reduce Jokic's minutes, in my opinion.
It's funny to me, and this has nothing to do with anything other than just an observation I had from this morning. Did you see the ESPN NBA future ranking?
I didn't. I was living my life.
I think they had what was it? Cleveland at number 2. And
future rankings, huh?
Future rankings, and I'm going to have to go back and check, but they were really high, and the Nuggets were 9th.
Let's take a look.
And Tim Bond, of course, is Bontemps is involved with that. And they were either 2 or 3, and the Knicks were really high too. But what my thought about that was, have they not seen a Donovan Mitchell team? They win 60 games and lose in the second round every year.
I mean, to be fair, the Nuggets, other than one season in the last 5 years, have also lost in the second round.
Yes, but we can say we won the title.
That's true.
But ever since 2018 or 19, right around there, it has been second round, and they win 60 games during the year, and they flame out in the playoffs. That is like every Donovan Mitchell team, every single one. Yeah,
I'm looking at this article. whatever, man. It's sometimes like there's some good stuff from the survey, like Jokic being 19 out of 20 people's best player in the NBA. There's some good things that come from that. It's hard to process. Like the way that this is written, it's actually difficult to figure out what what is going on here.
You know why? It's because Kevin Pelton is writing, and it is hard to figure out his frame of mind at any time. So,
well, the Kevin Pelton trade grades are hilarious to me because every time it's B- and C+.
Yes. Yes. So this is what I'm talking about.
It never feels like there's an actual take there to be had.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, before we transition into our non-basketball stuff, media days on Monday.
Right.
The Nuggets title odds, according to FanDuel, plus 750, third in the NBA behind OKC at plus 210 and Cleveland at plus 650. By the way, finishing up our Jokic conversation, according to FanDuel again, Jokic minus 125 to average 28 points per game this year. That's means implied favorites to, or not implied likelihood to be able to do that. I wouldn't take that. I actually think that
I wouldn't.
Like he's going to take a step back in terms of the actual points per game. Maybe I'm wrong, but
I know it'll be good. It'll. I don't think he's going to be in that running, and I think it'll be beneficial to the Denver Nuggets if he's not.
100%. What would you, from a media day perspective, what should Nuggets fans want to hear the most from this media day? Because I know sometimes us in the media get a little bit jaded in terms of, okay, what's actually being said here? Does any of this matter? To some Nuggets fans, they want to hear certain things. What do you think Nuggets fans should want to hear for this upcoming media day session?
Well, you know, the interesting thing, you and I talked about this yesterday. The interesting thing is that media day is not like it used to be. I am going to sound very old here, but we used to be able to walk up and just interview who we wanted, because every player they would bring them up in shifts, but we'd get to literally talk to every player. Now you get to talk to players, but it's very managed, and it's one of those things that you don't ever get to ask all the questions that you want, because it's just in a press conference type atmosphere. You don't naturally get that like you do one-on-one. That's just a personal gripe thing. I'm no longer there at media day, so we'll be relying on Mr. Blackburn here to get the lowdown, and then I'll be talking to him on my podcast if you don't mind me promoting CSG.
You can poach me. That's fine. We'll have a good time with it. I'll tell you all the nasty details that I hear behind the scenes too.
Right, the sanitized details. But what I would want to hear basically is a lot from David Adelman and a lot from Christian Braun, because those to me, those are the two most important ancillary pieces right now. Because as you've heard from me, my thoughts on Christian Braun are that he's great, he's improved, but you can't have a shooting guard who doesn't shoot. And it's just a thing that he has to demonstrate that he has worked on. And I want to hear talks about that, and if he's worked on that. That's what I want to hear.
Worked on threes. I'm sure he's worked on hey, I've taken 1,000 threes every day or whatever abnormal number, absurd number you want to say. It's not about that. It's a rewiring of his brain in terms of what is actually necessary for the team from him from a regular season and playoff standpoint, because averaging under 3 attempts per game from three as a shooting guard that plays over 33 minutes, that's too few. Yeah.
I would want to hear that, and I want to hear a motivation to take more. That is 100% thing. And then from Adelman, I just want to know what his approach is going to be offensively that deviates from everything he did before. I want to hear that, because I have a lot of questions about Adelman, and everyone's heard it from me. I am just very leery of the interim to head coach pipeline. Everyone loves the assistant coach, and it's going to be different for him to do 82 games. But just on a machinations point of view, I want to hear from him. And I'm speaking for me, but I'm assuming other people want to hear this.
Sure.
I want to hear his approach to offense that's going to differ from what he did before. In my eye, what I've observed from him is that the Nuggets actually, the peak of their offense with Jokic was under Chris Finch, not David Adelman. Under Adelman, they completely changed approaches to a more slow, methodical point of offense. And I want to know from him what he is going to do to change his own offense, because everyone says he's creative, but the guy has run the offense since 2017. And I want to see something that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, it's tough, like, because the actual plays themselves are creative. They are. It's not necessarily like, it's more about a style. It's more about an overall ethos and the direction that you are going. And Denver changed some things this past year because they were kind of catering to Russell Westbrook's speed and his athleticism and his willingness to push the tempo. Christian Brown also pushed the tempo a lot. But if you stop that, and if as a defense, then Denver becomes a little bit easier to guard, especially if you're just packing the paint in the half court. So I want to hear how Denver is going to combat that. And they may not know. They may not know until they get out on the court, until they start to see the way defenses are guarding them. But I would like to hear some understanding of the problem and some addressing of the problem that they faced last year, which was, hey, you're like, when teams stop fullback dive down the middle, what are you going to do about it? And I'm hopeful that they have some questions or some answers that they can throw at us.
Yeah. What would you personally want to hear outside of anything from Adelman?
The quote, "We are going to play everybody," would be a good quote for me.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing. If you have depth, you might as well use it. If you don't use it during the regular season, it is completely useless. And number two, championship habits begin on day one would be another sentiment that I hope makes its way into the dialect here, because if it doesn't, and if we don't actually see Denver get off to a good start this year, then they're going to be working from behind the entire time again.
Right.
And that to me is just unacceptable in this particular season. You have to get off to a good start. If you actually believe that this year is a championship year, then it starts now. It just starts like when training camp hits, and even before that. So I do think that the players seem very motivated. They've all gotten together and have been in the gym on a consistent basis over the course of the last 6 weeks, basically, outside of Jokic and Valanciunas in Eurobasket. But we'll see what it looks like. We'll see whether they actually provide that level of intensity and focus and single-minded kind of focus on this goal. But in order to be a champion, it has to start now. You can't wait. If you do wait, then you're going to be behind and you're going to be exhausted by the end of it.
Yeah, that's 100%. I agree with that. And it's going to be interesting because mostly media days are kind of, well, but you do get kind of a window into the personality of a team.
Yeah. That
kind of comes out. And if, like in the 2022 media day, actually, I think that's the last one I went to. The team seemed to be really together. That's my memory of it. And I think that can translate to something like that. I've always thought that team vibe is kind of a thing that future generations have been more reliant on, the team vibe and stuff like that. I mean, we just had a report come out about Scottie Pippen saying that he doesn't talk to Michael Jordan or Phil Jackson or something like that. And it reminded me that the Bulls of the 90s were there to do a job. They didn't need to have the best vibes in the world. But future generations, it has been more important about the vibe and how they gel and get together. And so that could be a very important thing to discover during this very managed media day.
Very managed is a very good way to put it as well. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to be out there. I'm not going to San Diego, unfortunately. Matt will be going to San Diego, so we'll have some content and I'll be able to share some insights, hopefully. But no, it'll be fun, and I'm excited to kind of get going here. It's been the long off season, the long night, Matt or Jeff. Excuse me.
It's all right. It's all right. I have more hair and I'm older, so
that's gosh, both of those are so true. Hey, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to do non-basketball stuff. I'm very excited for this conversation with Jeff, where we're going to decompress and not talk Nuggets for a little bit. And I'm very excited to get into some fun topics, pop culture wise. We'll be right back here on Pickaxe and Roll. Are you waiting for the right candidates to apply? You're sorting through resumes and it just takes so much time. Well, the future of hiring looks so much brighter because ZipRecruiter's latest tools and features help speed up finding the right people for your roles, so you save valuable time. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/audio. With ZipRecruiter's new advances, you can easily find and connect with qualified candidates in minutes. Over 320,000 new resumes are added to ZipRecruiter monthly, which means you can reach more potential hires and fill roles sooner. Use ZipRecruiter and save time hiring. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And if you go to ZipRecruiter.com/audio right now, you can try it for free. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/audio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. All right, we are back. Pickaxe and Roll, thank you so much for tuning in. Do you like how on that I recorded, are you waiting for right candidates to apply? And I
thought it was a dramatic pause is what that was.
Yeah, that's very important. So shout out to ZipRecruiter for sponsoring the show. 2 years ago, we did this same show.
Uh-huh.
At that point, we also talked about Hunter Tyson, which was hilarious. Wow. If you remember the Hunter Tyson breakout game where we compared him to Larry Bird and got over 4,000 views on YouTube, and then a whole bunch more on the podcast side. It was hilarious. Wow. And we talked about The Old Man. Do you remember recommending The Old Man with Jeff Bridges to me?
I did.
Gosh, it was a good show. I really enjoyed it. It was very fun, and it's one of those that I wasn't expecting to enjoy. But hey, I trust my guy Jeff, and I genuinely appreciate the ability to connect with things on.
It was a show about Jeff Morton.
It basically was, if we're being honest. There's a lot to that. Shout out to Jeff Bridges. It was great. Can I guess what shows you've been watching lately?
Sure.
So I'm doing my surveying, trying to figure out, okay, what have I been enjoying? What would Jeff like? I'm thinking you're an Apple TV Plus guy. I think Slow Horses and Your Friends and Neighbors are the two that I had picked out for you.
You know what? I have seen only the first season of Slow Horses, and I haven't seen the other one.
Okay. I haven't seen either of them. They're on the list for me to potentially check out, but
it's very good.
Got that vibe with Gary Oldman.
Yeah, another thing, old in the title. I think that's probably how you.
Why do you think I picked it?
Right. Slow Horses is good. It's kind of humorous drama, and I wouldn't call it comedy. And it is it's a very interesting, very high quality. I mean, people, when the Apple TV Plus, everything on there is really, really, really high quality. And I haven't liked everything they have done. There's a show they had on there called Invasion.
Oh, okay.
And the reason I watched it is because Sam Neill in it, and Sam Neill is one of my favorite actors. And he was only in literally the first episode. They used him to promote the series. He was literally only in the first episode.
That's brutal.
And I was like, well, what's going on here, folks?
Did they kill him off or something?
Yeah, like literally in the first episode. Done.
Jesus.
So it's like, well, you should Sam Neill cameo is probably what they should have said it. But it was an okay series, wasn't great, but the actual quality of it, it's just super, super, super high.
I like it. I mean, there's like the one major show that I've watched on Apple TV Plus over the course of these last couple of years is Severance.
Yeah.
I was late to Severance. I don't know if you've watched before.
Not a single episode.
Jeff, it is incredible. It's a really, really awesome show, and there's a whole bunch of psychological stuff in it where you don't fully understand and appreciate like what's going on. But seasons 1 and seasons 2, they were incredible. Adam Scott and Britt Lowe are fantastic in it. It's one of those shows that I had heard people talk about being awesome and didn't fully appreciate it until I actually sat down and was very compelled by what was going on, trying to figure out what in the world is happening here.
Oh yeah. I've heard it's like a puzzle piece. It's just piecing together a puzzle, and
some folks are a little bit dissuaded by that because there's always another puzzle piece to try. It's like a carrot on a stick trying to get you to keep watching. But I do find this particular episode with that compelling.
Oh, good. Well, that's I like what I have seen generally when I've invested in it. What was that one with Harrison Ford on Apple TV Plus? It's the one about he's a psychiatrist. Oh my God.
I've heard that one is pretty good. I actually don't remember what it is.
I haven't. See, here's the thing. I go through periods where I have waxing and waning tastes.
Yeah.
And I've been watching a lot of British stuff lately.
Wow.
And I just finished Adolescence.
See, that was getting some recommendations on Netflix.
If you aren't into feeling bad about yourself, I wouldn't watch it. It's excellent. It's really well acted, but you don't leave Adolescence thinking that life is great,
Is that how does it compare to Sex Education?
That's a good question.
Because I did enjoy Sex Education. That wasn't for everybody, but I found it hilarious.
Much more of a Adolescence is more. It's got some humorous parts to it, but it is a drama.
Serious, yeah.
And it's not the same kind of thing as Sex Education. It's interesting, and that's a Netflix thing.
Yeah.
Overall, I tend to not like a lot of Netflix things, other than I like a lot of their Korean shows that they put on there.
Speaking of, Alice in Borderland season 3 is coming out.
No.
I'm not kidding. Have you seen it?
Not yet, no.
It's like, I mean, think Squid Game, but a little different, a little bit more like kind of in your face game show, but not really game show kind of world drama. Like there's a lot of challenges that you have to go through in Alice in Borderland. And it's actually like surprisingly good, or at least the first season was very good. Second season was, I'd say, good, a little shaky. But another, I believe it was Korean. It was great.
There's one on there called the Jusong Creature.
Okay.
The first season is one of the best seasons of TV I've ever seen. And another one is called The Silent Sea, which is about finding water on the moon, basically.
Yeah.
And what happened to these people that went up before when they discovered it, and it's kind of a science fiction thing, but it is really cool. And what I really like about these shows is that the guy in The Silent Sea, have you seen Train to Busan?
I have, yeah. Really good.
The dad in that is the main character in Train to Busan. So, I mean, is in The Silent Sea. So there's kind of that line through, but it's a really good thing. But like other than that, I really haven't found myself liking a lot of Netflix things other than Stranger Things, obviously. But I don't know why, because they obviously throw a lot of money.
I do. The quality has just not been good enough, and what Netflix also has done this thing where for the first season of a show, if it doesn't immediately get the ROI that they're looking for, they cancel it, and they won't allow a show to develop and really kind of cultivate, and that can really be frustrating when you're trying to. They have so many irons in the fire all the time that they're willing to kind of let some stuff go. You bring up like a good example of that for one that they probably should have let go after they let go of Henry Cavill was The Witcher, which is coming out later this month in October.
That's a Ryan. That is a Ryan show to me.
Well, it was until season 3, and it became like really bad, just really obnoxiously bad in that particular season. And then Henry Cavill basically said, "You have to start making things like lore accurate," and they said, "No, we're good. We're going to let you go." Or effectively kind of pushing him out. And because season 1 of Witcher was great. It was exactly what a Witcher game fan would have wanted. But yeah, you are right that it was a Ryan show, at least for a time.
Well, I tend to like everyone out there who listens to CSG or the Gen X show knows that I'm a fan. And I wanted to like their Resident Evil series that they had, and it was just so bad.
Which one was it? Just titled Resident Evil? Which one was this?
It was Resident Evil, and
I don't remember this.
It was a series that was out 3 years ago, I think. 3.
I'll have to go look. Maybe I shouldn't.
It wasn't very good. It got really weird at the end of it. It was like goofy weird, not weird, goofy weird. And I just didn't like it. But that this Netflix has got this. They got a hit and miss track record. Obviously, there's Squid Game, which was this huge phenomenon.
Did you watch season 3 of Squid Game?
I did not. I watched the first season.
Okay, so first season was great. Second season was good. And then I watched the third season with my brother over the course of the last, we were late to it because it came out on Christmas. It was too soon when it actually did come out. Not good. Not a good season of television, unfortunately. And
really?
Just the way that things end was not awesome.
Oh man, I think I was thinking about Amazon. Have you seen any of their series?
So I was going to ask, the 2 flagship ones from Amazon over the course of the past few years have been, from my perspective, Reacher, which we tried. We really tried, Jeff. It was the first season of Reacher, surprisingly good. Second season of Reacher, it's kind of like what you're talking about with some of these other shows, where it just kind of gets too jokey and gets too like unfortunately weird.
Silly.
Yeah. It was very corny. It was like every conservative's dream. Sorry, that's probably not something I should say, but
I'm not arguing. There's no argument from my end.
Yeah. But the other one was The Expanse, which is something that Ross and I are watching now. And the first season's not very good. I need to know from people if I'm going to keep watching The Expanse, which is 6 seasons and 63 episodes, do I keep watching or do we stop now?
I saw The Expanse first 2 seasons. And this was, God, when did those come out? 2018?
Yeah, it was a while ago. But again, you miss so many things because there's so many things that come out.
I saw it and I was just like, it's just science fiction. You know? Science fiction is one of those genres that can be done. If it's done well, it's great, legendarily great. If it's done poorly, it is just boring and kind of lightweight and facile. And it's just, it's a hit and miss thing. And, Amazon had a series called Jack Ryan. John Krasinski.
Of course. I watched the first, I want to say 2 seasons of that. The first season was great. Again, second season, it spirals, but they're still going, I think.
No, they had a third season and stopped. Okay. The third season is better than the second season. I recommend that more than the second season. The second season was kind of weird.
That's why I stopped.
It didn't have that thing. But the first season is if you just watch that one season, you're like, yeah,
pretty great. Yeah,
this is pretty great. Second season, you're like, oh, this is letdown. And then the third season was like, oh, okay, I can see where they're going. And then they stopped. So it's like, you know, TV series are not like when I was growing up where you just had to accept what was on TV. You know, so you had the three main channels four over-the-air channels, and then there was all the cable. They didn't really start heavily investing in cable series until the 2000s, basically.
Sure.
So that is the era that you've primarily grown up in. I just liked things back then, and you were kind of forced to like it because it was all that was on. But if you look back at a lot of those shows in the 80s, like I tried to watch an episode of a show you've probably never heard of called Simon and Simon. It was my mom's favorite show. I went back and watched this, and holy crap, the writing is terrible. But I remember loving that as a kid.
Yeah.
But it is terrible. There was another one called Riptide. Same thing. Very similar show. Loved it when I was a kid. I went back and watched an episode on YouTube. It was awful. Awful.
I really struggle with that with like 70s, 80s, 90s horror movies a lot of the time, where like you understand what they're going for. You understand like what, and especially kind of at that time, people are just kind of getting into the genre, and some of the writing for like, especially outside of your Hitchcocks and your like main horror movies like The Exorcist and things like that, it gets shaky real quick once you get off the top layer of stuff. So I get it. It's one of the reasons I struggle going back and watching some of the old things. It's like playing old video games that you're like, oh man, this was so nostalgic. I really enjoyed this. And then you try to play it. It's like, oh, the buttons are really difficult. They're not optimized in any way, shape, or form to actually play like it is now.
See, like my favorite games are the Silent Hill series.
Okay. They're coming out with a new one.
Yeah, it just came out. It's called Silent Hill F. And it's very J horror. So if you're into J horror, it's you'll love it. But the first 3 games are some of my favorite games of all time, but I would never recommend people to go play them, particularly if you're younger and are getting into this modern consoles and modern versions of games, because it is hard to get used to that what they're called tank controls. So you're essentially directing a character from all sides, and you have to use both I call them joysticks, but controllers to move a character around, and some perspectives you can't move around. It creates a feeling of dread, and it does what it's supposed to do, but people get so frustrated with it because it's not like it is right now. It's just not.
I mean, if you can't turn around it and try to see the people that are coming behind, it's gonna get very frustrating very quickly.
Yep.
Like I can understand that though. It'll be a fun. Maybe I'll have to try Silent Hill F. Like that's one where like you just never know what you're gonna get into at that point. But are you much of a gamer?
I used to. Well, I wouldn't say I used to be, but I was more of a PC gamer.
Okay.
Old PC gamer, where we used to have to take these CD, they were CD-ROMs, not DVDs, and put them in. And there was also like 4 different discs that you needed to put in to install the game.
Yeah.
And so like Silent Hill 3, my favorite game of all time, video game. And it was a process to get this thing hauled on the computer. And I played that, and there was one time, I'll never forget this. There was one time I played the game, and it was scary. But the thing about that game was the sounds were really disturbing. It was disturbing sounds. And I was in this habit of taking walks and runs at night. And sometimes I would do it at like 1 a.m. Back when I could stay up that late. I mean, for you, that's like, oh, that's early. But
not anymore. Let me tell you, kind of like Nikola, I'm getting a little older now. It's a little bit more difficult to do.
That's right. You're going to be 30 soon too.
Jesus Christ!
This is great.
Don't play that.
But I went out on this walk right after I played the game, and I scared myself I literally scared myself because I was out right after I played this thing and I had the sounds in my head.
Yeah.
And I was looking all around every corner, and that's not a sign of an effective game, but it's also,
Yeah.
maybe I should have been, jogging during the day. And it was fun. And I mean, when I was a kid, my second favorite game of all time is Super Mario Brothers 2.
Okay.
It was a game that was not initially intended to be a Super Mario game, so it's different from every other game in the series. It was on the original Nintendo,
Yeah.
and 1988 came out, and it is a fun little game where Mario has to pick up these vegetables and throw them at people and stuff like that, and it's got really catchy theme, the catchiest theme in the history of video games. If I could send you that link late after this, and it'll be in your head for the rest of the day.
Please do not.
But that's the stuff I grew up with. Atari games.
Yeah.
Just Asteroid on. I would play Asteroid on Atari for hours and hours and hours when I was a kid. We had those, and Atari, you had the joystick, so you had a button on top of the stick and two buttons where you can like adjust movement, but it was like at the top, so you would like have to press this button on top of the stick to fire. And that was the Atari system. I forget which version it was, but that was the Atari system. And once Nintendo came along, everything Atari died basically after that. And
it's the natural order of things where like you get this, like it was more optimized. I'm pretty sure. Just everybody was like, hey, okay, this is what it can look like now. Great, that's awesome.
And every Nintendo game was a platform game.
Yeah,
everything was a platform. It was either up and down or side to side.
Yeah,
and it wasn't until the 90s with like Earthworm Jim or something like that, where they were able to go do the circumference, because like with Atari, we had Pitfall.
Yeah.
Which was basically Indiana Jones in a video game. And it was just...
This is dating yourself like crazy.
Look, I saw Temple of Doom in the movie theater, and then I went and played Pitfall. So
oh my gosh. I was recently, so I went to Yellowstone with my dad this last weekend, and very lucky to do it. We got onto the topic of movies that kind of mean the most to you,
right?
And the most impactful movies. And there's, first of all, there are so many movies that like it's hard to kind of boil it down anymore, because it's just kind of like shows. You just never run out of content to be able to consume. But Raiders of the Lost Ark was one that I think like, you know what? That's on par. That's probably a foundational movie for me.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking, gosh, when did Raiders of the Lost Ark come out, Jeff? When did it come out?
1981.
And I was born in 96. So like it's I don't know how it happened. I don't know what, like, parents were just like, if he's gonna bring anything with him to the rest of his life, it's gonna be this movie, it's gonna be Jurassic Park, it's gonna be Jaws. Like I wouldn't say that Jaws is a foundational movie, but just like some of the classics that have popped up. And like there are some things that will stand the test of time. There are some things now that will stand the test of time, but we just don't know what they are yet.
Well, I mean, my top movies are like Clue.
Actually, before we do it, I want to hit one more break, and when we come back, we're gonna share our top movies. That'll be top movies of all time, and then that's how we'll wrap it up with some movies and maybe some audiobooks on the other side here on Pickaxe and Roll. This podcast is brought to you by Delete Me. Delete Me makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone feel vulnerable. Data brokers, they profit off of your data. It's a commodity. Anyone on the web can buy your private details. This can lead to identity theft, phishing attempts, and harassment. Have you ever been the victim of identity theft, harassment, doxing? If you haven't, you probably know someone who has. Delete Me can help. Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Now at a special discount for our listeners. Get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to deleteme.com/hit and use promo code HIT at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/HIT and enter code HIT at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/HIT, code HIT. All right, we are back. Pickaxe and Roll. It's actually Pickaxe and Roll, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you're still listening, we really appreciate you. I know this is obviously not the direction that the show normally goes, and that's why I am really enjoying myself. So thanks for tuning in. Real quick, Jeff, before we get out of here, movies that have been foundational, movies that you really have enjoyed in your life. I'll share some of mine as well. This was unplanned, but I think that this will be a good kind of window into who we are.
Well, I won't do favorites, but I'll say the cornerstone movies for me.
Yeah.
Clue, the movie, is possibly my favorite movie of all time.
I've never seen it, and I have to. That's a good one.
You have to, and it's a very specific thing. Kids my age love that movie. I say kids, and I'm almost 50. What else? We got Chinatown, great movie. In the Mouth of Madness, which is a John Carpenter movie from 1994, got Sam Neill in it. That's way at the top. In fact, I saw that in the movie theater. Excuse me, that came out in 95. I saw that in the movie theater in February of 1995, twice. And then I saw it 2 more times at the Dollar Movie Theater, the second run theaters that they used to be around back in the 80s and 90s. And what else do there was The French Connection, which is a William Friedkin movie. The best car chase scene in history is in that movie. And there's a movie that came out in 1999 called Trick. That is a very foundational piece for me. And the audience for that particular movie does not exist on your platform. So
I was just wondering, like I have never heard of Trick before in my life. Yeah. So
it's not a movie you will ever. It's not a movie you would ever voluntarily see.
Oh.
It's kind of like a Doris Day, Rock Hudson pastiche, but it's gay. So it's like that is what it is. But it came out in 99. Tori Spelling is in it. You have no idea who that is, do you? No reaction whatsoever. All right, God, you're so young. Oh my God, I say you're so young, but there's people who are my friends who in the business who are much younger than you.
It's getting there, man. And thank you for reminding me that I'm now no longer the young pup in this business. I have graduated to old head and unk status. That's what
they say now, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, I'm 28. That's like I'm next to like it's time. It's time to go. So we're gonna
old folks home.
So my movies from like a foundational standpoint, it's certainly not like I'm not gonna go with all the classics. I love watching Shawshank Redemption when it comes on, but it's not going to be like my foundational movie of like, hey, this means this is the most impactful movie in my life. No, it's I remember certainly 2 movies that come to mind are the new Star Trek with Chris Pine is something that I would watch in my mom's Honda Odyssey with the artificial headphones on. Just lean back in the chairs for all, like we had to do that at least 25 times in the span of 3 years. Unbelievable fun. I know that there's going to be a lot of actual Star Trek fans that are like, how dare you? I've never seen original Star Trek before, but I do know that the new movie is great. It's certainly a lot of fun. And the first 8 minutes of that movie, I was talking about this with my dad, are just incredible. Just an incredible incredible experience, especially for if you're going into a theater to do it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And then, gosh, I mean, I got the Harry Potter stuff behind me. Actually, it's not over there. It is over. It's down there. You can't really see it.
It's on the wall.
Yeah, it would be it's the Marauder map right there.
Yeah.
That's one where, like, I remember I went to a theater when I was 8 years old, too young to go see Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, but we did it anyway. I had nightmares of Dementors for the next couple weeks, and that's how I knew that was a great, and it's unfortunate that things have sort of spiraled for that series since then. Yeah. But
I've only seen 2 of those movies.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. Like, it's either you're gonna go and you're gonna watch it at midnight, or you're not gonna watch, and like the midnight release kind of thing.
I'm too old.
You're not okay. You could definitely do it. Like, I could see you getting into it at some point. We'll have to do a Harry Potter book club. Actually, no, we should definitely not do that. No. I just don't think that there's so many reasons why we should not do that, unfortunately.
I love how you said that and backtracked immediately.
That's when you're starting. You think you have a great idea, and then realize what the idea actually is. So let's not do that. But Jurassic Park's one of those that I would say is pretty foundational. Iron Man was the same thing. My mom's Honda Odyssey. We'd shut her out. We'd put on the headphones, and we would just watch it on that little screen that's about like yay big, and it was great. We had a great time with it. Gotta love it.
I love how these memories are attached to your mom trying to keep you quiet. Essentially,
growing up, my brother and I, our big thing, like. We would just hit each other. Like we would just, like, in the backseat of a car. My mom literally had to pull over the car one day. We were going to like a football camp or something like that, and she literally had to take us home because we would not stop like hitting each other. And it was embarrassing and sad. But that's just what boys are. That's like, we were civil, and now Ross and I have lived together very happily for the last 4 years.
Well, I mean, look, you get older and the stupid stuff ceases being stupid, you know. And I it's funny. I have two older brothers, and we're all close in age. My oldest brother just turned 50, and there's one in between us, and then I'm 47.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is, we're talking about movies. We all saw the same movies. We all saw them. I mean, the things that we all saw growing up. We have all completely different tastes in movies. All of us, it's just completely divergent. They no similarity whatsoever. And I've got 3 younger half siblings, much younger half siblings, and none of them share any of my tastes in movies either. It is amazing how completely different it's not surprising with the younger ones because they're a lot younger. But me and my 2 older brothers, we are, like I said, literally a year apart, mostly, and it's just nothing. And we have literally no music in common, no movies in common, nothing.
Sometimes it works out that way. Like, my brother and I are identical in terms of our tastes most of the time. It's funny how that works, where. Yeah. Like it can either go that direction, like you and your brothers, or it can go the direction where you get identical siblings. Now, my brother has long, luscious golden locks and a huge ass beard, and that's how we differentiate with each other. But no, I love him to death. He's great.
How close in age are you?
So he's 25 turning 26. I'm 28 turning 29. So we're 3 years.
Oh, 3 years. Yeah, see, that's a good age gap too. That's a good age gap.
Yeah, like it's enough that I could establish dominance for a little bit, and then he became a better person than me. So
establish dominance. What are you, a gorilla?
I put his head in the ground. last thing before we get out of here. One of the big reasons why we wanted to do this was because Stranger Things is coming out.
Right.
Stranger Things season 5 is on the way. What do you think, first of all, of the 3 separate release dates that they are going with on Netflix?
I figured out why Netflix did that.
Why?
Because everyone does the 1 month Netflix thing and then unsubscribes.
Oh.
It's to keep people subscribed for 3 months.
Interesting. Okay, I did not appreciate that, but you're 100% right. Like they'd get the November, December, and January because they're releasing on like New Year's Eve, I think.
Yeah. So they're doing it to keep people subscribed for 3 months.
I don't blame people for unsubscribing. Like it's really difficult to watch everything you want to watch by keeping subscribed to all these different things. Now,
yeah,
it's unfortunate to have to like unsubscribe and I'm too lazy, unfortunately, to actually keep up with that. So I've been paying for Netflix for way too long.
You know, it's funny. I've had Netflix subscription since 2008.
Whew.
And
give you a legacy.
But this was back when they were DVDs. They would
that's how our family got into it. Yeah,
which was a great idea.
When DVD players were a thing.
When DVD players were a thing. Well, they're still around, but
I won't.
It's
I won't say that they're not like.
But it's only the nerdiest of nerds who collect them.
It's the physical media truthers.
I'll be honest with you. That's partly me because I love physical media.
I believe it. Yeah, I know.
Because I grew up with it. And I know that we have a mutual, there's a very good friend of mine, Trey, who collects physical media too. And he's a lot younger. He doesn't have the nostalgia attachment to it that I have. My reasons for collecting are completely different. You know, it's like I used to own CDs and tapes, cassette tapes and vinyl records. Yeah. And so like you just like go back to what you associate, but he doesn't really have that attachment to it. So, you know, it's just because there's people out there who like collecting physical media.
Sure. I mean, it's understandable. It's complete. I get it. On Stranger Things itself, it's been weird that like season 4 and season 5 have been so much of a gap. Like it's going to be very weird to see all of these kids as like legitimately true adults in the record, like when they film this content. But I remember, because I think the first year that it came out was like 2016, right? Yep. 2015, 2016, somewhere around there.
Summer of 2016.
I was a sophomore in college, watching it by myself because I didn't think that it would be cool to watch this nerdy show with anybody else. And it was tremendous. And the fact that it has become as popular as it has is a credit to the show. And that I think the culture and the world itself has kind of updated itself a little bit, like to the point where it's now cool to be consuming this kind of media. But I have really enjoyed all the seasons of Stranger Things. My brother and I was watching, like he had never seen Stranger Things. I had never seen Breaking Bad. So we basically alternated seasons of watching each of those shows, and just so we could get caught up. And he's caught up on Stranger Things. I've now watched Breaking Bad. Fantastic show.
Great show.
And haven't seen Better Call Saul, but I will.
I think Better Call Saul's better.
Which, I mean, there's a lot of people that do. So I'll have to check it out soon. But your first impressions of Stranger Things when you started watching it, and then what you're excited for now?
Well, I'm just excited to see the story end. Yeah. It feels like it's a good time to end it. I rarely say that about TV.
Better late than never, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think that this was greatly influenced by the pandemic and the actors and
the writers' strikes. Right?
Yeah, and that completely we would have been getting this last year if it wasn't. Yeah. But I'll say that my reaction to it in 2016 was very, very interesting. I think I talked to you on the phone about this.
Yeah.
I initially clicked on it on Netflix because I saw that Winona Ryder was in it. And Winona Ryder is a huge part of my life. She's been although going all the way back to Beetlejuice,
Nice.
she's and Heathers, which is one of my favorite. And I should have listed Heathers as one of my favorite movies of all time.
Okay.
And so that was the reason I clicked on it. It's like, oh, Winona Ryder. I haven't seen her in anything for a long time. And I watched it with my dad and my older brother, Brian, and we were all just sucked in. And the interesting thing about Stranger Things is that it's a show that is run by millennials. The Duffers are like twins who were born in 1984.
Yeah.
Who are imagining what life with Gen Xers is about, people my age and older. And it's loved by people who are Gen Zers and younger.
Yeah.
And this is such a stranger combination that it's hard to match because it hits nostalgia. It hits what kids today like. And that first season is one of the highest quality seasons of television I've ever seen.
And I do think it does get better. I do think that they improve upon it. It's one of the things when kind of going back and rewatching everything. Like first season, it did, like my brother said it too. It started out a little slow for him, but it picked up, and you get the reveals towards the end, and you start to really value the characters. And it's one of those shows that I think really appeals, because I've gotten into D&D over the course of the past couple of years, I'd say, and it has started really, like, it started showing me the light that hey, it's okay to be a nerd, man. It's really okay. It doesn't have to make you weird or whatever. As somebody who grew up as a jock, like as somebody who grew up in sports for that entire time, like it was very informative for me that it really is okay to embrace this other side, where like it doesn't have to be a side. It can just be like who you are. It's great.
Oh, and I was never a nerd growing up, but I was always a music dork. And
yeah, you were. You very much were.
And I mean, there's pictures of me probably floating around online. I'd really
the ones that you have posted yourself.
Yeah. Really long hair.
Oh my God, it's great.
But the thing is, my liking of the show was it reminds me of very specifically, and this is, it sounds strange, the neighborhood I grew up in Arvada. I grew up in Arvada. I lived there till I was 15. And the neighborhood I grew up in was a lot like, especially season 2, when they're all out trick-or-treating and stuff.
Yeah.
It reminded me of that.
That's cool.
And because there was kids everywhere. And back then I was a latchkey kid. So like literally your parents just say, get out of the house. And then they didn't like
go play with rocks or something. Like
they would wait for the call from the police that your son's missing and stuff like that. That's literally the existence. And then, I mean, I would get myself to school and there'd be no one around when I was home and stuff like that. But it kind of I responded to it that way, and it captured it really well for people who were not really alive in the 80s. I thought it was really interesting because the way they did the Halloween stuff, particularly in season 2, was like almost jarring how accurate it was, and how it hit in that way. And that's what got me in. But I've kept with it because it's just good writing. Yeah. And when you have good writing on a show, that really is 90% of it. And the actors conveying what that is. But you can tell that the Duffers are very good at what they do. They're very good writers. There's some aspects I don't like. I think season 3 was, to me, a little too much. This is the 80s. You know.
Yeah, I could see it. It's like, wow, they're in a mall now. That's awesome.
Let me tell you something. I grew up going to Westminster Mall, going to Southwest Plaza, all these, Cinderella City. Never once in the 80s did I ever see that many people at a mall that they depicted in Stranger Things. Not once.
They had to show that it was popular some way.
Yeah. It's like, I was watching that doing, there was never that many people at this mall. Malls were always on the verge of dying.
Like perpetually. Like that's
perpetually.
That's the thing. So that's funny. That's very funny. Holy cow. Like it's I will be very excited to kind of see how it ends and just appreciate what has, I mean, because it's going to come out in January 1st, 2026 is the final episode. So it will have spanned nearly 10 years.
Yeah.
Just wild to think about.
Yeah. And these kids are like, you're right. I mean, like, I think the youngest of them is 21 by the time the series.
Steve Harrington's going to be your age by the time this thing's done.
he's going to have kids and, the beard and, family. Yeah. I just,
Joe Keery.
Joe Keery, who's got a music career of his own.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting. It's funny. And I'm looking forward to it because I think there's a bunch of stories that they had left at the end of season 4 that need to be wrapped up. And they're going to have the space to do it.
Yeah. No, it's going to be great. I'm very excited. That's all I got for you, Jeff. We probably should get out of here. We're over over the time period that I said that we would.
Like literally every time I'm on your podcast, I make you go longer than you.
You don't make me. This is enjoyable for me. So thanks for doing it, man. I do really appreciate it.
Of course.
All right. Well, hey, everybody go check out the CSG podcast. Everybody go check out. I'm going to be on Monday, I believe, just after Media Day.
Yep.
And we'll be kind of reacting to some of the actual Nugget stuff, but maybe I can swindle Jeff into talking about some pop culture stuff. We didn't even get to books. It's crazy.
I'll make some time at the end of that one when people are like, okay. The people are angry about something, that they didn't hear a Media Day. We'll just let them go with something like a book.
We're gonna have to talk about Project Hail Mary, which I'm very very excited about. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for this episode of Pickaxe and Roll, brought to you by our good friends here at Mile High Sports. Thank you so much for tuning in. Nuggets Media Day right around the corner. Nugget stuff right around the corner. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button on the way out. We will talk to you guys next week.